Hi, this is Alki, and welcome back to my channel. Well, it looks like Kathy Hochul has put her foot in another mess. She's not exactly putting her best foot forward, as we can speak. This is from New York Post by Carl Campanelli. Business sue Hochul over illegal and misguided 75 billion climate law, claiming it will cause a spike in cost to consumers. This lady loves to spend other people's money, doesn't she? Anyway, here we go. A collection of business and trade groups are suing the Hochul administration for a law that will force oil, natural gas, and coal companies to pay $75 million for spewing carbon emissions. That means your electric bill is going to get higher, and your heating oil soon. Governor Kathy Hochul administration claims that the law was necessary to combat the company's contribution to climate change for decades, but critics said that the extra cost will be passed along to the consumer through prices at the pump and heating bills and electricity. Knew it. The law is not only illegal and misguided, but it will likely increase the cost of energy, placing an unnecessary burden on New Yorkers and consumer nationwide, especially during a time of already high prices. Marty Doblin, president of the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, Global Energy Institute, and plainly indicates told the Post. Just like they're trying to take apart EPA because they were doing similar garbage. Uh, so the lawsuit filed in Manhattan federal court claimed Hochul and the state legislature exceeded authority by approving the New York Climate Change Superfund Act last year and asked that it will be tossed out as unconstitutional. The plaintiffs also include the New York State Business Council, the American Petroleum Institute, and the National Mining Association. We always argued that this is bad policy for New York, and we intended to seek reversal through all available avenues, said Ken Polk-Lasky, Vice President of New York Business Coalition, or Council, excuse me. The law aims to essentially change fossil fuel companies or charge for the purpose of sharing of global useful house greenhouse gas emission based on completely unsustainable attribution science. The plaintiff claims. Yeah, but meanwhile, what you're finding in doing this to U.S. companies, China and India is still continuing their emission stuff. Federal law prohibits New York from imposing liability on fossil fuel energy producers for harm alleged caused in Empire State by greenhouse gases emission outside the state, the lawsuit said. Ooh, yeah. Sorry. The plaintiff said there is no way that a essential 38 energy firms would pay back those costs without raising prices to consumers, and some critics wonder where it could even be collected from foreign-owned companies. New York seeks to reach back decades in time and impose significant monetary penalties on those producers operating almost completely outside the state, potentially subject other states and consumers to increase energy costs while reaping the financial benefits to play for climate change adopted infrastructure, the suit says. It is the second lawsuit filed against the law. 22 states, led by West Virginia, also filed a challenge last month. Analysis conducted for the bill sponsor, Senator Liz Krueger, Manhattan, and Assemblyman Jeffrey Danowitz of the Bronx last year showed foreign-owned and American companies together would pay about $3 billion over 25 years. That says $3 billion a year over 25 years. The oil giant Saudi Aramco of Saudi Arabia could easily be slapped with the largest annual assessment of any company, $640 million a year, for emitting 31,269 million tons of greenhouse gases from 2000 to 2020. What? I mean, I read it, but I think it's kind of ridiculous. Aramco, formerly known as Saudi Arabian Oil Company, is owned by the Saudi royal family. Mm, I could make jokes, but I don't think so. It'd probably be banned from YouTube if I said it. The state-owned Mexican oil firm Petróleos Mexicanos, a Pentamex, emitted 9,512 tons of CO2 and could face an 193 million assessment for generating 9,512 million tons of greenhouse gases. Oh, now she want to mess with Mexico. Russia and Lukoil could assess with 100 million yearly fee for spewing 4,912 million CO2. Good luck getting money from Russia. You ain't getting that. You forget it. There are 8 companies identified as carbon polluters, including American petrol giant Exxon and Chevron, as well as Shell and BP in the UK, Total Energy IES in France, Petrobras in Brazil, BHP in Australia, Glencore in Switzerland, Equinor in Norway, and ENI in Italy. I don't know what the Italian's going to tell her. Hochul defend the law, which would begin collecting funds in 2028 and be used to upgrade infrastructure impacted by extreme weather or install more energy efficient cooling and heating system in the buildings. Why is she trying to make it look like congested pricing for the oil industry? Governor Hochul proudly signed the Climate Superfund Act because she believes corporate polluters should pay for the damages done to our environment. Not everyday New Yorker, said spokesperson Paul Michel. We look forward to defend this landmark decision in court and defeat big oil once again. A series of green energy laws going into effect that seek to wean New York's off fossil fuels and transfer towards emission-free alternatives is causing a backlash over concern that the green push will trigger higher energy costs. And it has. I mean, look what happened with EVs. Prices keep going up. They think they're gonna be um, pulling this out like candy, and what happens? It's not sustainable. This is not sustainable either because they're relying on green energy, windmills and solar panels. And the problem is, if you have no wind or you have no sun, you're not gonna get no energy. And then the storing it is gonna be another expense. And plus, if God forbid the lithium batteries has a problem, boom, like it happened in California, same plant had a couple of fires, you're gonna have a major problem. Plus, the emissions from a lithium battery fire and smoke is very bad for your health. It's worse than the what's coming out of the chimney. A Hochul administration greenhouse rule requiring that 35% of 2026 model cars sold in the States will be emission free, but it's unrealistic bust, auto dealers claim. A lot of people do not want EVs. They want the good stuff. They want delete those diesels. They want no management nonsense because a lot of this stuff, as I was told by people like TJ's Garage and stuff, it damages the engines. It kills the engines. You need stuff to bulletproof the engine from coming apart. When they had this stuff on, it damaged the engines. They don't last long as engines of older cars and trucks. The Climate Leadership and Community Protection Act of 2019 requires the state and its energy producers and consumers to move away from fossil fuels by slashing gas emissions by 40% by 2030, with the goal of achieving 100% zero carbon emission electricity by 2040. No. like windmills and solar panels is not enough to produce the energy you need. Governor Kathy Hochul and Democrat-led legislation has also banned gas stoves, furnaces, and propane heating in new buildings. In December, Hochul extended the state's fracking ban to prohibit new techniques to use carbon dioxide to extract natural gas. The gripes come among outrage over Con Edison's request to jack up electric bills by 11.4% and send gas bills soaring 13.3 for its 3.6 million customers. Is she out of her mind? Yes, said Peanut the squirrel and Fred the raccoon. Unfortunately, they're not here to defend themselves now, are they? Hochul said that she opposed the hikes, even though the utility giant particularly blamed the need for higher rates on the higher cost of building clean energy infrastructure to comply with the state climate law. In other words, she's trying to pull a Gary Newsom. Remember, Gary Newsom did not want to let State Farm and other insurance companies raise the rates because of the threat of fires would do damage to these properties, and he wouldn't allow it. So some of them moved out, and you know what happened next? January, a few months ago, I think it was fireworks that started this nonsense, New Year celebration, and several days later, Palisades and other communities went up in smoke, and they didn't have the water to fight it. And then, of course, Gary Newsom tried to sweep this under the rug, said, no, there's nothing to see here. Everything's fine. Um, we don't have a problem. And by the way, listen to my new podcast, Gary Newsom. Yeah, right. Who wants to listen to your podcast? Oh, my gosh. What a mess he left in California. No, no water for Southern California to fight the fires once they ran out of water. Not good. And, the EPA is going after him in California because some of the stuff they put out there, and then they want to spread it across other states, it's a no-go. That's why your cars are more expensive, because of California and their emission standard nonsense and putting stuff in your engine that's killing the engine. If you believe me, go watch TK Garage. I recommend you follow him. He'll explain everything, why your engines are dying sooner than later. Because of all the garbage that you put in these engines, the engines can't handle this. He says if they don't have the stuff on, it'll be bulletproof. That will last a long time. With the stuff on, it cuts the life of the engine down. And this is what Kathy Hochul's doing right now. Is the same thing that Gary Newsom's doing in California. I mean, only it's not houses and water. It's the green energy fiasco. People don't want to buy no EVs because they want regular cars. EVs are more expensive, and in some places it's hard to charge a car up, in New York City especially. And if you don't have an area where you can easily charge up the freaking car, it's going to be hard for you to charge it. I mean, I had no place here to charge up an EV if I wanted to get one. The closest place I could get to an EV place, I would have to go all the way to Teaneck City Hall and Library area to do that. And then, you have to sit there for, I don't know, an hour or whatever it is. When a regular car, you just fill up, don't take that long and go. But this is the problem with the green energy. It's also costing consumers more money because they're going to raise the rates on everything. Your electricity bill, your heating bill, your fuel, the operated vehicle, And then she has the congestion pricing on top of all that. I mean, come on. This lady is just out of control. hmm She's just out of control. That's all there is to it. My suggestion is if you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen. And you should find another state to live in where everything is cheaper, less expensive, and you don't have a whack-a-mole governor thinking she's the next Gary Newsom. She's the Gary Newsom with makeup on. Let's put it that way. She denies there's a crime problem. She denies there's a subway problem. She denies everything. You know, there's a crime problem. There's an immigration problem. She denies everything is a problem. Oh, but climate change is a problem. Climate change is not mugging us on the subway or on the streets of New York, is it? Do I see a dirty cloud coming down from the sky, coming onto the sidewalk with a weapon, saying, stick 'em up, give me your money? No. It's in her head. There's a problem. And by the way, that congestion pricing, that means everybody is going around it to avoid paying the tolls and bringing the pollution over there. So yeah, even if your cars, a number of cars are down in that congested pricing zone, it's not down to George Washington Bridge, is it? Nope. So this is all I'm saying. So long for now. Don't forget your stop. New York is nuts.